Hey everybody, Andrew here, and welcome back to my channel. Now, if you don't know what I do here, basically, if it's Canadian, I want to talk about it. Well, following up on my last video, we continue this little spooky train with a sequel, Wolfcop 2, or another Wolfcop. Following the success of the first movie, Lowell Dean got to work on a sequel almost immediately, and in 2017, the world got a little bit hairier with another Wolfcop. The movie sees the return of the main characters, as well as the surprise return of Willie Higgins, which we'll get to, as well as some newcomers on the force, Willie's sister, and the villain of the movie, Sydney Swallows, played by Yannick Besson. And if you think this is the weirdest role he's done, surprisingly, it is not.
I'm gonna suck your eyeballs out, then I'm gonna scalp you mother goblin fascist fish.
But what is a big surprise is in an uncredited role, we have Kevin Smith as a mayor who probably has the single funniest slogan for a beer possible.
Slam a cool guy!
Available at all quick stops. Kevin Smith ended up in this movie as he was scouting locations in Saskatchewan at the time and just so happened to come across production. When they asked, he said, okay. So you never know, kids. Now, spoilers ahead for this movie, but this movie is available for free on Tubi and Plex as well as the original. So go watch them, and if you haven't seen my first video, go watch that and then watch this one. I can wait. So let's get into it, shall we? Okay, so another Wolfcop picks up a few months after the original. Lou is in full effect as Wolfcop, much to the chagrin of Tina, who's now the sheriff. During one of his escapades, he intercepts a truck that features the symbol from the first movie, suggesting that the cult is back in Woodhaven. Meanwhile, Sydney Swallows has stepped in to become the savior of Woodhaven, reopening their brewery as Dark Star Brewery and having a new hockey team come in, the Dark Stars. But obviously all is not well, as we see this man has some very malicious intents from the opening scene. So it's up to Tina, Lou, and Willie to figure out what's going on and save Woodhaven. Another Wolfcop feels like Lowell has finally figured out what he wanted from the first film and has gone full tilt at it. Once we've gotten over all the lore and all the details surrounding what makes Lou the Wolfcop, we go into a full-fledged roller coaster of action, gratuitous nudity, and just all-around craziness, which also includes more wolfcock and a full-on sex scene with a she-wolf, which I will never, as long as I live, think of Gowan's strange animal the same way. And speaking of Gowan, he also has a role in this film as an accomplice to our villain, Sydney Swallows. So yeah, everything in this new one is an absolute upgrade from the first one. Tina and Lou's relationship is better, the effects are better, there's a bigger crowd so it doesn't feel like an indie film where everything's sort of boxed in. The lighting is significantly better, even Lou's transformation effects are way better. And best of all, we found a way to bring back Willie. So watching the first one, we know that he ends up being one of the bad guys. And that was hard because Jonathan Cherry just carves out a part of that movie for him. He is probably one of the better parts of it. The character of Willie is someone I love, who I would definitely get a beer with. So to have them find a way to make him come back that also makes sense is great, although it does leave a little bit of a loophole. See, because they say that the reptilians replace people, so does that mean that both the police chief and the mayor should have also have been abducted? I don't know, but I'm thankful that we get one of the better parts of the first Wolfcop back in this one. Also, in terms of action, it's clear that Dean has way more confidence in himself than he did in the first one. In the first film, we didn't see Wolfcop come out until the second act, but here we are full on into the action. After the introduction of Sydney, we get into a car chase, we get several fights, we get that sex scene I mentioned, and we get the goriest hockey game ever caught on film. I'm sorry to every other hockey film, including Goon. Man, that is a poorly aged title. Now, I've said everything I love about this film and how I feel like this is the film that we wanted from the first Wolfcop. But Does that mean it's a perfect film? Absolutely not. One thing that has always bugged me about this series is the reptilians. Okay, so this is a species that's hell-bent on taking over the world. Yet Woodhaven, a small town, always seems to elude them, and they have difficulty with it. I mean, at one point it's mentioned that Swallows has businesses all over the world, but a small town is giving him trouble? Really? Also, in terms of the reptilians, we have a scene where we see one character that's in full reptilian makeup, and compared to all the other creature effects in this film, it feels a little bit of a downgrade as it's just a guy in a mask walking around. Also, speaking of other characters, when we meet Willie's sister Kat, I feel like she's a little bit of a write-in, as they couldn't figure out what to do with Lou after he got beaten up, so they kind of diverge from the whole story. We have this story that is them racing against the clock to stop whatever Swallow's plan is, and then we just divert from that story to introduce Kat and have her just magically heal all of Lou's injuries. And while I'm appreciative of her and how it sort of expands the supernatural element of this world, and it was obviously no big surprise that during the finale she would come back in after making this whole speech about never going back to Woodhaven. And speaking of the finale, one of the things that really bugs me about it is we have Swallows getting away, and at the end it says Wolfcop will return. The problem with this is that it has been 8 years since this movie. So obviously it has taken some time for the return of Wolfcop, and this means that as of now, this film is unresolved, so it's kind of a letdown of an ending. But that doesn't mean that it was a bad film. All in all, I like this film a lot more than the first one, and it feels like a definite upgrade from the first one. Despite its flaws, I gotta give this film a 4 out of 5. Okay, so thank you for watching my review. I hope you like it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy my videos. I really appreciate it. And hey, you know what? Let me know what you thought of Another Wolfcop if you watched it. Okay, so with that being said, I have one more video, and then we close the book on my spooky October. But first, we're gonna have to open a book of pure evil. Anyways, I'm Andrew, and I'll see you later.